The Empress laughed. Survive this beast and you can rule my kingdom. HFY Sci-Fi Story. The Great Hall of the Aurelian Empire was built to make visitors feel small. Its ceiling curved so high it vanished into soft blue light. Tall crystal pillars lined the floor, each carved with symbols of conquered worlds. Representatives of dozens of species stood in layered ranks, scales, fur, metal limbs, and glowing eyes filling the space with quiet arrogance. This was a place where power was not argued, it was displayed. At the center, upon a floating throne of living crystal, sat Empress Sereth. She had ruled for more than 2 centuries. Her kind lived long, and her rule had been longer than most wars. Her face was calm, beautiful in an alien way, with silver skin and eyes like frozen stars. She watched the hall with bored interest, already certain she knew how this gathering would end. A human stood alone at the foot of the throne. Elia's ward looked small here. He wore a simple dark uniform, no armor, no visible weapons. His hands were relaxed at his sides. His posture was straight but not stiff. He did not bow deeply like others had. He gave a respectful nod, nothing more. That alone caused whispers. "Is that it?" murmured a towering reptilian noble to another. "That is the human." The Empire had been watching them, waiting for them to fail. Elias felt the eyes on him, but he did not react. He had trained for this moment for years, not in combat drills but in patience, in control, in understanding that fear, once shown, could never be taken back. The Empress leaned forward slightly. "You requested an audience," she said, her voice echoing without effort. "You stand before me as a representative of your species. Speak." It came from many throats, many shapes, rolling through the chamber like a wave. Some laughed openly. Others hissed or clicked in amusement. Even a few of the Empress's advisors allowed thin smiles. Sereth herself laughed last. It was not cruel laughter. It was genuine, surprised, and entertained. "Equal," she repeated. "You are bold, human." That earned him a few sharper looks. Talking back was dangerous here. The Empress tilted her head. "Your species controls what? 3 systems. You lack the fleets to defend them against a single imperial armada. You lack the numbers to challenge even my border lords. On what grounds do you believe you are equal?" "On the grounds," he said, "that humanity survives." There was no trembling in his voice, no anger, no pleading, just quiet certainty. She smiled. "You are entertaining," she said, "but entertainment is not proof. Empires are built on strength." "There is a creature," Sereth continued, "known as the Void Beast of Karzul. It has killed champions from species far older and stronger than yours. It hunts not only the body but the mind. No one has defeated it. Few have survived more than a day. You will have power, territory, and status beyond anything your species has known. Only confusion. You accept?" An advisor repeated. "Yes," Elias said simply. Sereth raised an eyebrow. "You do not ask what weapons you will be given." The Empress stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed again, softer this time. "You are a strange one, human. Very well, you will have 7 standard days. Use them as you wish. After that, you will be sent to Karzul." No triumph, no fear. Interesting, she thought. In the days that followed, the human delegation quarters became a place of quiet activity. Elias spoke little but worked constantly. He studied every piece of information the Empire provided about Karzul: terrain data, energy readings, records of previous challengers. Most files ended the same way. Status: deceased. Some had been powerful warriors, others brilliant tacticians. All had failed. An Imperial observer assigned to monitor Elias reported back daily. "He does not train for combat," the observer said on the 4th day. "He asks for environmental data, structural decay maps, weather cycles." On the 7th day, Elias stood aboard a transport vessel looking out at the stars. A human officer spoke quietly behind him. "You don't have to do this," she said. "We can withdraw. The Empire won't attack. Not yet." The planet was broken. Dark clouds twisted across a red sky. The ground was cracked and uneven, littered with the remains of ancient structures. Gravity shifted in subtle waves, making every step uncertain. The air hummed with unseen energy. Somewhere, the void beast waited. Back in the great hall, the Empress watched the live feed appear above her throne. A small human figure stood alone in a hostile world. Several nobles shook their heads. "He won't last the night," one said. Sereth did not respond. She leaned forward, her smile gone. For the first time in many years, she found herself wondering, not how long the human would survive, but what he might do if he did. Karzul did not welcome life. Elias felt it the moment the transport vanished into the clouds above him. The ground beneath his boots vibrated in slow, uneven pulses, as if the planet itself breathed in pain. The sky was dark red, thick with moving clouds that twisted against each other. Every few minutes, the gravity shifted slightly, pulling him sideways or pressing him down without warning. He stood still for a long moment, letting his body adjust. Panic wasted energy. Energy meant survival. The Empire's observers expected him to run or hide. Elias did neither. He activated a small scanner on his wrist and began to walk. The ruins around him were old, very old. Massive stone and metal structures lay half-buried, broken by time and war. This world had once held cities, civilizations. Whatever had lived here before had not survived the void beast. Elias moved carefully, marking paths, counting steps, testing the ground with a metal rod before putting his full weight down. Every movement was slow, deliberate. He was not hunting. He was learning. Far away, something shifted. The sound was not loud, but it carried. A deep vibration, like stone grinding against stone. Elias stopped and listened. He did not reach for a weapon. He noted direction, distance, rhythm. The void beast was awake. High above Karzul, the Empress and her court watched through distant sensors. The image showed the human as a small figure among ruins. "He's doing nothing," one noble said. "No defenses, no attack." Strange choice. When it ended, Elias stepped back outside. The ground had shifted. Paths he marked were gone. New cracks had opened. Karzul changed itself constantly. "So do humans," Elias said quietly to himself. He moved again. By the second day, the Empire expected the void beast to attack. It always did. It fed on fear and surprise. Challengers usually died screaming, their panic clear even through distant sensors. But Elias gave it nothing. He avoided open spaces. He never stayed in one place too long. He left false trails. He learned where gravity pulled strongest and where it weakened. He watched how the air reacted around invisible disturbances. The beast was not invisible, he realized. It bent reality around itself. That meant it could be tracked. On the third day, the ground exploded behind him. Elias dove forward as massive claws tore through stone where he had stood seconds before. The void beast emerged partially from the ground, its form shifting, never fully solid. Its body was huge, larger than a transport ship, covered in dark, moving patterns that hurt to look at directly. It roared, and the sound struck Elias like a physical blow. Fear surged, sharp and fast. He forced it down. He rolled behind a fallen pillar as gravity twisted violently. The beast struck again, tearing through the ruins with ease. Elias did not attack. He ran. The Empire's court leaned forward as the feed shook wildly. "There," someone said eagerly. "Now he dies." He moved through the ruins, setting traps that did not rely on force but on timing, on pressure, on gravity shifts. He studied the beast's behavior from a distance. It hunted in patterns. It expected prey to flee blindly. Humans did not always do what was expected. By the fourth day, the beast was frustrated. It attacked Elias twice more, each time failing to land a killing blow. Each time, Elias escaped with minor injuries. Blood ran down his arm, but his movements remained steady. In the imperial capital, the mood had changed. "He should be dead," a general muttered. Sereth's expression was thoughtful. "No," she said. "He is exactly where he wants to be." Tall, broken towers formed a rough circle around a wide open space. The ground here was unstable, gravity fluctuating in strong waves. The void beast followed. When it entered the open space, Elias stopped running. He stood his ground. The beast rose before him, towering, its presence crushing. The air warped. The ruins trembled. Fear pressed into Elias' mind, heavy and invasive. He closed his eyes. He thought of Earth, of storms and disasters, of wars survived, of generations that had lived through impossible odds. He opened his eyes. "I see you," he said. The void beast struck. Elias moved at the last possible moment, activating devices he had placed days earlier. Gravity surged upward in controlled bursts. The beast was lifted, twisted, slammed back down. It roared, wounded but not defeated. Elias did not celebrate. He ran again, drawing it through the city, triggering trap after trap. None were meant to kill, only to weaken, to confuse, to tire. The void beast had never been tired before. By the fifth day, it moved slower. Its attacks became less precise. Its roars were shorter, more frequent. The Empire's scholars argued. "It shouldn't fatigue," one said. "It feeds on energy." Elias barely escaped, sliding across broken stone. Pain shot through his leg, but he forced himself up. "You want me afraid," he said, his voice calm. "I won't give you that." The void beast was thrown upward, slammed into the remains of a tower, and crashed back to the ground. The impact shook the planet. The beast roared, wounded deeply now. Dark energy leaked from its form. It struggled to rise. Elias did not attack again. He backed away. "I don't need to kill you," he said. "Just survive you." Then slowly it retreated into the ground, disappearing beneath the ruins. Silence fell over Karzul. In the imperial capital, the great hall was silent. No one spoke. Sereth rose from her throne. "He is still alive," she said softly. Not one noble laughed. On Karzul, Elias collapsed against a broken wall, breathing hard. His body ached. Blood stained his uniform, but he smiled faintly. The beast was alive, so was he, and the trial was not over yet. Karzul was quieter after the void beast retreated, but it was not peaceful. Elias felt the silence like pressure on his ears. The ground still vibrated faintly, and the air shimmered with unstable energy. The beast was wounded, but it was not gone. Creatures like that did not flee unless they were forced to rethink what they faced. Elias pushed himself up from the wall. His leg hurt badly now. He tore a strip from his sleeve and bound it tight. Pain was a signal, not a command. He could still move. That was enough. He knew something important had changed. The void beast had felt fear. Not panic, not confusion, but something close enough to matter. For the first time, it had not been the strongest presence on this world. It had been challenged without rage, without desperation. That made Elias dangerous. He moved again, slower now, but still careful. He returned to observation. The beast would not attack blindly anymore. It would watch him, learn him just as he had learned it. Above the planet, the imperial court was restless. "It retreated," one noble said, disbelief heavy in his voice. "It has never retreated. When they meet it, they must adapt or lose control." He placed small sensors around him, not to alert him of movement, but to record it. He wanted proof. Hours passed. Then the ground far below shifted. The void beast did not emerge fully this time. It rose partially, watching. Its massive form remained half hidden beneath broken stone, eyes glowing faintly. It did not attack. Elias felt the pressure in his mind increase. Images pushed at the edges of his thoughts. Fear, memories, isolation, death. He exhaled slowly. "No," he whispered. He thought of voices, of crowded cities, of noise and chaos and life, of humans surviving together. The pressure lessened. The beast withdrew again. Elias smiled faintly. "You're learning," he said. "So am I." Elias was still alive. That alone would have been enough to fulfill the Empress's challenge, but the trial had changed. This was no longer about survival. It was about dominance. The void beast attacked again at dawn. This time it came with precision. The ground erupted beneath Elias, forcing him into open space. Gravity twisted violently, pinning him down. Pain exploded through his chest as the pressure crushed against him. The beast rose fully, towering above him, its form more solid now, more focused. It believed it had learned enough. Elia's vision blurred. He tasted blood. Fear tried to take hold. He let it pass through him. He reached for the final truth he had discovered. The beast's strength depended on control, on being the center of reality. Elias took that away. He triggered multiple devices at once, not to attack but to disrupt. Gravity surged in overlapping patterns, clashing against each other. The air screamed. The ground fractured wildly. The void beast roared in confusion as its control shattered. Its form flickered, destabilized. Elias forced himself to his knees. "You are strong," he said loudly, his voice carrying through the chaos. "But you are alone." For the first time it hesitated, not because of injury but because of doubt. Elias stood, swaying slightly. He looked small, broken, human, and still standing. "You cannot scare me into obedience," he said. "You cannot force me to run. You can only kill me, and if you could do that easily, you would have already." Elias led it toward the edge of a deep chasm formed by unstable gravity shifts. The ground there was thin, barely holding together. At the last moment, Elias jumped aside. The void beast followed. The ground collapsed. The beast fell partway into the chasm, its massive body slamming into the sides. It did not fall fully, but it was trapped, struggling to pull itself free. For the first time in centuries, the void beast bled. Dark energy spilled from wounds along its form, seeping into the air like smoke. Its roars echoed, no longer triumphant but pained. Elias stood at the edge, breathing hard. He could end it now. He had one charge left, enough to collapse the chasm entirely, enough to kill the beast. He did not use it. Instead, he sat down heavily on a broken stone and waited. Minutes passed. The void beast stopped struggling. It looked up at him. Their eyes met. "You live because I allow it," Elias said calmly, "just as I live because you failed to stop me." The beast disappeared beneath the surface once more. Karzul fell still. In the great hall, no one spoke. The image showed the human sitting alone at the edge of a shattered world, alive. "He could have killed it," a general said quietly. "Yes," Sareth replied, "and he chose not to." He did not win by strength. He won by denying his enemy what it needed most. He had proven something more important, that even monsters must adapt when faced with humanity, and not all of them could. Far above, a message was transmitted. "Trial ongoing," the imperial system announced. "Subject remains alive." A soft light appeared in the air above Elias, forming imperial symbols. His wrist device activated on its own, translating the signal. "Trial concluded," the system announced. "Extraction authorized." The planet was quiet. The void beast did not stir, the ground did not shake. Karzul, for the first time since he had arrived, felt almost still. A transport descended through the clouds, its engines humming low. It landed nearby, careful, respectful, as if the pilots feared disturbing the world. The ramp lowered. Elias stood. Each step toward the ship was slow but steady. He did not look back. He had left nothing unfinished on that planet. As the transport lifted away, the ruins of Karzul shrank beneath them. Deep below the surface, the void beast watched the sky where the human had disappeared. It did not roar. It remembered. The return to the imperial capital was silent. Medical staff tended to Elias' wounds, but he waved them away as soon as he could stand on his own. He cleaned his face, changed into a simple uniform, and waited. When the doors to the great hall opened, the sound of hundreds of voices fell silent at once. Elias walked in alone. The same hall that had laughed at him now watched in awe. The crystal pillars seemed less imposing, the ceiling less distant, or perhaps Elias had changed. He walked to the same place he had stood before, at the foot of the throne. Empress Sareth was already standing. She did not sit. She did not smile. She stepped down from the throne and walked toward him, stopping only a few steps away. Up close, her presence was overwhelming, but Elias met her gaze without flinching. "You survived," she said. "Yes," Elias replied. "You wounded the void beast," she continued. "No one has ever done that." There was no mockery in it, no amusement, only respect. "I offered you a kingdom," she said, By the laws of the empire it is yours. Speak, Elia's ward, name the world you will rule. Refuse? Is he mad? No one refuses the Empress. I came here to change how you see us. This was not what the trial had been meant to create. You ask much, Sareth said slowly. So did you, Elias replied. For a long moment it seemed as if the Empress might refuse. The empire had been built on hierarchy, on dominance, on control. Then Sareth smiled again, small and thoughtful. You faced a monster that ruled through fear, she said. And you defeated it without becoming one yourself. Your borders will be respected, your people free. Later, as the court dispersed, Sareth stood alone on a balcony overlooking the stars. Elias joined her, standing a respectful distance away. You changed something today, she said. So did you, Elias replied. She glanced at him. You understand that this is only the beginning. Others will test your species now. Not all will be kind. We are used to that. It would not hunt him again. Some lessons once learned were never forgotten. In the days that followed, word spread quickly. Across dozens of worlds, the story was told in different ways. Of a human who faced a nightmare and survived. Of an empress who tested a species and found them unbreakable. Humanity did not conquer the empire. They joined it. And somewhere deep in the ancient structures of power, something old and dangerous shifted. Because the galaxy had learned a new truth. Humans did not need to rule through fear. They only needed to survive, and they always did.